And you look the photo?
And when you plant without looking,
inform the gathering that our partnership of being here today is to request this meeting to accept our involvement in your day-to-day operations, largely to create a sustainable pool of resources for the local governments in Western Uganda. We have given you a successful story where we have launched the agreed with us and come together to go to the central government and create a fund that will establish revenue to create carbon sink for the oil and gas emissions. The oil and gas emissions are a necessary evil. In countries like Iraq, where I have been, and Iran, 78% of the deaths in this particular oil refinery areas are from the oil and gas emissions. What are we saying? While we need this oil and gas, can we, the local governments, gain our space and create the necessary carbon sinks, which in turn give us income that we are terming the local government green economy? I will explain to you briefly, very briefly, because we don't have time, but at a particular moment, we will request that if you agree to our partnerships, we'll give details. One of the biggest carbon crops in the world is called Kabaka Njagala. In English, we call it candle nut tree. Kabaka Njagala has a nut that is 68% biodiesel. For our crude oil to be marketable on the international scene, we will import, and mark my words, Total will import biodiesel in the next 5-6 years. If we, Ugandans, do not grow candle nut trees and create the necessary critical mass for the candle nut trees. Why? For our crude oil to be marketable, we need 5 to 21% blend of biodiesel, ili tupunguze makali, to minimize the carbon fumes. That's the local government green economy we're talking about. That same candle nut, Mr. President, has almost 99% raw material for phosphates, raw material for fertilizers that the 80% of our agriculturists need. I don't see why we should be importing fertilizer in Uganda. I don't see why. The other major crop for the local government green economy, what I would now call the Western green economy that we're going to help you, you're going to help us launch today, is bamboo. Bamboo is the real green crop. There are over 10,000 species of bamboo in the world. But Umoja Conservation Trust has done research in East Africa, and only 6 can grow in East Africa. Those 6 can grow anywhere in Uganda.
Mama Nyabo! Suits Band Restaurant Mbarara Katete yakuletera imbaga yo mwaka hakuritse message 2025 December ibirabiri nebiri ubutamu mtwaro gumwe VIP mtwaro ebiri kandi meza emitwaro 30 ahampani iziraho ikinyashe cyango chips Captain Mogani na nechipa za bizo mutano yesho yarebera beshokoze bawe Weiji Tipo Basachazi Ristan MC DJ Maxi nabandi binji abanyambarara mucyo digide shemererwe obwe tukwetabakanisa okhendera omwaka ogumpaha ibirabiri nebiri ebibyona bitebekanisiwe Linksys Band Restaurant erikushanga Mbarara Katete wahingura St Mary's Primary School kandi awe yashagikwa mu Chiga TV online TV on YouTube okumenya bikiraho yano tumushanji 5 mwenda abiri nemwe 5 ngaga na mwenda nanga no tumushanji note emwe ngaga nemwe 5 weshange yo Linksys Band Restaurant Mbarara Katete abiri 5 December umwaka ogumpa gwenyene.
I give you one example. The coffee industry in the world is about $40 to $45 billion annually. The bamboo industry doubles that. Bamboo is more tensile than steel. It's harder than hardwood. Bamboo is the green economy that will minimize pressure of our natural resources, Mr. President, and create an economy that will support our people out of poverty. We hear the president talk about employment. I don't see it happening from the extraction industry. Neither do I see it happening from the mining industry. I see it happening from the green economy industry. If you talk about all of us as we came here, literally everything is made out of bamboo. Clothes, food, medicine, beer. Name it. And most importantly, it's biodegradable. So, I won't say much about bamboo, but what we're saying is together, allow us to work together and create money for the local governments so that we stop depending on the central government. Me, Tosh Bwana, I happen to be one of the few governance advisors to the late Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, may he so rest in peace. I watched him closely generate revenue for local governments in Tanzania from less than 9% to over 65% independent. The local governments in Tanzania called it TAMISEMI, Tawala na serikali za mitaa na mikoa. So, it's possible. It's possible. All we need is to own our space. If we're to enact laws, let's do it at district level. If we're to change bills of local government, let's do it. One final thing, Mr. President, that hurts me most, that I think we need to address today. Why would Ministry of Water and Environment, with all their entities, NFA, NEMA, have $178 million every year and more for climate change, for environment conservation? But they own 9% of Uganda's landmass. 91% of that landmass is in our hand. Local government, us, the private sector. So again, our partnership that we want to request for here today is to really establish and own our space in the climate change mitigation drive. So much money is out there that we can do good service. So conclusively, I request that we have together a huge gathering once every year called the National Local Government Convention. If possible, in Kampala, and if possible, at Kololo. Then we can make our voices heard. Then the president can realize how important we are. 2, I also would like again, if you so wish, that through the president and his team, I see the Secretary General right here, if we could have an avenue whereby we recognize, identify, and reward excellence for the many of you who toil tirelessly for Ugandans but are unsung heroes. I think that would help. We've got excellent district speakers, super sub-county chiefs, excellent people who work tirelessly but are never recognized. So we are here to request that together we have the National Local Government Excellence Awards that will help us identify talent, recognize it, and reward it. I salute you.
Anderabet Sheria is my name. I'm the District Council Speaker for Toro District Local Government, all the way from Eastern region of this country. But I also double as the Secretary General for Uganda District Council Speakers Association. I'm happy to be here talking about issues that affect our community, that affect our lives, that affect the development of this country. Maybe just a brief background. On the 4th of November, this very month, 2022, Uganda District Council Speakers Association held their annual general meeting, commonly known as AGM, in Mbale District Local Government. And together, we raised a very strong voice that we feel as people of Uganda, as citizens of this country, there's need, and the time is now for us to conserve the environment. Because this has become a common knowledge, very common knowledge to everybody, that the environment has been degraded. And if we don't choose to act now, the situation may be a lot more expensive to conserve it tomorrow or another day after tomorrow. So the speakers, in one voice, unanimously agreed to conserve the environment in that meeting. And happily enough, the meeting was graced by the Honorable Minister of Local Government, Honorable Raphael Magenzi himself, who actually launched a very big project that we have entitled as 60 million trees for Uganda at 60. Why do we call it 60 million trees for Uganda at 60? We feel that as Uganda celebrates its 60 years of high independence, we need to make a contribution. And that is the reason that we are here today. Having initiated this as speakers of this country, of course we know it is not one man's show. It is not one man's business. We can't do it. We are just but one piece of the local governments. We are moving now to every region of Uganda to tell them that together we need to do it. We need the chairpersons, we need the cows, we need the LC3s, we need the sub-county chiefs, we need each and every stakeholder of local government to join hands in this. And we are happy that this initiative is being supported and very strongly supported by our very good partner, Umoja Conservation Trust, whom quickly when he heard about the voice of the speakers, came to our rescue. Umoja Conservation Trust is ready and very willing to support the initiative. We really gratify them and appreciate and think that together we should be able to move forward. And we feel, as a woman leader and as a leader of local government, I want to call upon my fellow women leaders out there, because we know that this is the women who are more affected by the effects of climate change, because the women do a lot of work in terms of development, in terms of upbringing of the families, food, putting food on the table. So in the rural areas, they need firewood, they need source, so once the environment is disorganized, the women suffer a lot. So it is my humble appeal for the women of this country to come up and we join this. It's my humble appeal that all the other entities of development come up and join this initiative.
I'm Johnny Chargonza, Sub-County Chairperson Representative, Ulga. I have been delegated by the President, Mr. Wahinga Richard, to officiate the partnership we have agreed with the members to have a combined effort to plant over 6 million trees to conserve our environment with the Umoja. And today, I'm very happy here at the district headquarters to officially launch the planting of trees. And the purpose of planting the trees all over our districts in Western region is to ensure that we conserve the environment, especially where we are experiencing a lot of global change, and people need oxygen, people need good weather in order to live. So I'm very grateful that Umoja is also going to put in logistics and work with us to ensure that we fulfill our obligations.
Patience Sayobaricanera is my name. Kandi ndiyo mujwecherwa orukuruga Kazo district nka vice chairperson wa district. Kazo terhare na Kiruhura na Neibanda kandi nitwe izoberi twatunga umugisha go kureba marangogu go kureberera eby'ubuhangwa bwitu okukira munonga okubyara emiti yemiringo yona erimwe bijuma erimwe mshambya ebikubasa kurinda obuhangwa bwitu obutebekine. Kandi nitwe nka district twosire tuteireho program nka season age tuhira abantu emiti yo kubyara umufamu zabo cyo kubanza tukira kuterwa imiyaga munonga umuyaga gukija gutera hansi ebihingwa by'abantu twashanga ntushabo biyambe mu office of prime minister konke izoberi twagira group ya kitongore kija kutweraho Umoja Trust for Conservation of Environment baza kutukwasa kongera kubyara emiti mingi kandi nitwe nk'abakazi nda Western region twahigwa munonga kugira ngo tutehonke kijizo kandi nanye nkomuntu nje kugezaho kubyara ekibera especially in memory of my late mother.
I'm Naniche Venaskiza, District Speaker Mbara. Today we held a Ulga regional meeting at Mbara district headquarters, and within the meeting we resolved a lot of issues. But among the key issues who have partaken as leaders of Western region is to plant trees with the help of some organization which is Umoja Environmental Conservation. They are going to help the districts in accessing the seedlings, and we as leaders have totally committed ourselves to mobilize the community to plant the trees, and at the same time ensure that these trees are managed so well so that they grow and they mainstream the environment. You will appreciate that tree planting is very key and very important in environmental mainstreaming. They help us to modify the climate. At the same time, they help us to break the speed of wind. They help us to prevent the landslides and mudslides, especially in the parts of the region that are hilly and they need to be planted. So
actually, the rate at which the environment is degraded is high, and unfortunately when these people are taken to courts of law, instead of working on them, they favor them, and as a district we are not happy with that. We don't like that, because the president calls everyone to preserve the environment, but once these people are taken to court, instead of handling those people that degrade the environment, they take things lightly. So we are not happy with that, and we call upon those people in courts of law to at least consider that those people once they are taken to court and give them punishments.
Santrina Nawel is my name, District Vice Chairperson of Ulga District. I want to thank Umoja Trust Organization, which has come up to address the issues of conserving the environment. And as the leader of women, I call upon all women all over the country, and especially my colleagues from Rukunjiri, let us conserve environment. Let us not encroach our wetlands, because the waters from those wetlands are the one helping these trees we have planted today. And as Vice Chairperson of Umoja District, I am going I'm calling upon my fellow leaders such that we go and sensitize our communities, we go and sensitize our council such that the budget of natural resources and environment in our budgets can be increased. On that note, I want also to call upon or to appeal the government. So as we are still in budgeting process, let the budget of the national natural resources and others be improved. Let the budget be raised up such that we can conserve our environment, because when the environment is well conserved, the nature of the country also will be good.
Tosh Bwana is my name, founding member Umoja Conservation Trust, but that's not important. What's important is why we're gathered here today. And this is simply because local government in Uganda must regain its lost glory. We think the local government we saw in 1962, the local government we saw in 1979 is not the same local government to date. What are we saying? If local government can be sponsored, if local government can be supported legally and realistically, the game changer to climate change mitigation, the game changer to sustainable utilization of Uganda's natural resources is with the local governments. And I'll tell you why. 9% to be precise, but actually less than 11% of Uganda's landmass is in the hands of NFA, NEMA, and the Ministry of Water and Environment. But they're getting 90%, if not 100%, of the climate change mitigation funds. They're getting all the money to do with environment conservation. So we as Umoja Conservation Trust are partnering sustainably with the local governments across, LC5s, speakers, councillors, LC3s, COWs, name them, to regain our rightful place of government dedicating money to us. We own over 89% of Uganda's 533 square kilometers. That's where the game changer is. And what are we requesting here? The government of Uganda has been very emphatic in its social transformation campaign for the last 38 years. We are telling them that now is time to really act, and act big. The real socio-economic transformation, the real employment opportunities, the real traditional and cultural institutions, real environment conservation lies within our people in local government. If you're going to talk about the local government green economy, in there lies the real economy of Uganda. As we speak to date, Uganda's GDP is 52% nature-based.
We seem to forget that. Yet we continue giving a paltry less than 3% to conservation. So our plea here is that as we call upon government to support the majority, we are also saying let's start with what we have, the little that is there with us, and that's the natural resource called land. We have the land, and we're not going to wait for funds. We're going to start by growing every single jackfruit, guava, orange, mango, name it. We'll get it, dry it, transplant it as we wait for government to dedicate funds.
Ulga mulimbara nanga no tekatika kwijamu kana no ndo mwanya mulunji akwasa kwano humnize bitekateko byawe ha ni kwajura barika sutsi twine services mulunji mnonga accommodation restaurant sauna steam bath bar gym massage na nezindi nyinji mnonga lika sutsi nchangu mureme rwambara kabala road opposite ruti tank hill wabana kumanya gukiraho tano tumshanje note 20 atano nina igana 20 naga no tumshanje 5 20 binachena nemwe arona ya no tumshanje 5 atano ni 5 chena nemwe 22 no banogamana barika sutsi abakwirira services ezo mtindo.
Tamazina ni Danielson Nwagaba, director wa Babina Danielson Business Point company iriku diringiro mutarazo tiles na stone pitch chira munonga to emphasizing tarazo ni part of finishing pazo mu construction mu finishing omwe twahira magezi go gukora tarazo kandi tarazo n'amabara kama barago mbizaba gasire kurugera gauges buri size yo kuba noyenda hariho 2 inch hariho 1 inch hariho 3 inch hariho 2.5 hariho 80 hariho na 6 mugasho gwa tarazo kiringo ko kubana okora finishing okagira tinyoni yenda kukoma ankogoto tarazo ninge kintu cyo kuba wakora ngo myaka cha generation tarazo eche kutiyamba okwihara innovations namunonga atinka waba iritse wakosanka cement noza kuba ugikorera izoba nchaka rusange kurakinje ninga so sange mwe bikabakaba konke kitara hatarazo nyayi nakakora tarazo sofa ndio myaka nka 10 onka mirimo wagwanje kuna abandize neshahezi tinka huraga ngo innovation mangu gwasisika so tarazo ne kutuyambira ngira ngo wakora ikintu cya generation aha nugo murumo gutwabasije kushohoza ogwa tarazo kandi ugu niko kubera complete yabe hwire ni yeji na abantu bagireba nibare kugira ngo ninka cement onka yohiro nibare no tabura mu cement oshohoze iki cyenyine cyo kureba twine different colors kurigera okushaba kwa client na obwiro bunyito bantu following na nembera yo bwire na nahantu ahatwaza kukora umurumogwe so aha kitwakorire gikara nte nahantu hari public aho kurubataho buri yomwe to yatekeho white kugira ngo nono ine kuyambona nubwo kuba nakakozesa omukusimura na nokozya so twine different colors kandi twine different textures koisa oxides of kora colors koisa white cement ninga si different cements okora ezo colors so aha tukiza twakoisa white cement twataburamo ordinary kushohoza go murumo ogugwa hagati then harubazukuri twakoisa ordinary cement na black oxide kuiza koisa koreria ka
uryo muri mbara nanga no tekatika kwijamu kana no ndo mwanya mulunji akwasa kwano humnize bitekateko byawe ni kwajura barika sutsi twine services mulunji mnonga accommodation restaurant sauna steam bath bar gym massage na nezindi nyinji mnonga lika sutsi nchangu mureme rwambara kabala road opposite ruti tank hill wabana kumanya gukiraho tano tumshanje note 20 atano nina igana 20 naga no tumshanje 5 nina 30 binachena nemwe arona ya no tumshanje 5 atano ni 5 chena nemwe 22 no banogamana barika sutsi abakwirira services ezo mtindo.